What's going on? Hello, hello. How's everybody? Welcome to the Hope TV. It's a joy and a privilege that you've tuned in today. We're in our new season of programming, and we thank God for you, and you. And we're glad you've tuned in. You have tuned in to an episode of Marriage Matters, and this is the Marriage Matters Show. And Andre and I are the host of this show. We've been going strong since March of 2020, so it's about almost 14 months now. Can you believe that?
Just amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're going. Yeah, we thought it would just be a few months through the pandemic, and here we are 14 months later. And this has been, out of our 31 shows, this is probably one of the most watched shows that we have outside of our worship services. So wow. So thank you for riding with us. I appreciate everybody who's watching through Apple TV, Roku, Twitch, Amazon, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram Live. If you're watching through the websites, edewittsmith.org, hohatl.org, thehopetv.com, thank you. And while you're watching, do me a favor. If you're watching through a platform that will allow you to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share, please do so now. Every time you subscribe, you can get notifications as when new content is uploaded. We have programming literally all day long. We've added 2 new shows this season that I'm excited about. We'll talk more about those. So you can subscribe. When you like and comment, that's very helpful. Helps us with our algorithms and our engagement. So keep hitting that like button. That helps us to get the word out. Helps us even with our sponsors and our advertisers. So please hit that like button. Just take a moment now. Right now. Hit it right now. Comment, leave comments and questions. And then lastly, your shares are important because when you share it, you help us to expand. We've had over 130 million views of our content. Did you hear what I just said? 130 million views of all our programming since March of 2020. And that's because of people like you. So, you know, we're shooting with 200 million this year. Hit that share button. You can invite somebody to have a watch party, share it on Facebook, send the website link, just share it. You know, it's been crazy. We started this as an outgrowth rather of things you did with the women's ministry last year for married couples, but now everybody's watching.
Singles, elderly,
Yeah.
married 5 years, married 50 years.
Young, old, singles, college students, people who are engaged, people who are divorced, people, I mean, from 20 to 90, people watch this show. We're excited about it. We are excited today. We have a couple here who's very, very, very special to us. They have a powerful story. Andre's been trying to get them on really since last year. And very, very busy couple, but we have the utmost of respect and honor and love for them. And it's going to be a fun time to share today. We want to welcome to the show today Pastor Don and his wife Lonnie Burse. Welcome, fam. What's up, y'all?
Hey,
Hey,
How y'all doing? Good to see y'all.
likewise. How are you all?
Great.
We're good. We're
Great.
good.
They're from Las Vegas, Nevada family, and you know we love them. We love hanging
And
out
we're
with them.
sleepy and they're not.
Yeah, absolutely. So welcome. We've been connected with them for several years now, and we really appreciate you guys being a part. Welcome. So Andre, I'll let you open up as our customary question as we ask all the opening question to the couple. So I will defer to you, ladies first.
Because we always like to start off with the truth.
Oh,
you know, followed by whatever.
I didn't say all that. I didn't say that. I said ladies first. I didn't say truth first. Just because ladies go first don't mean it's the truth. Okay?
It's the truth.
Okay.
That's right.
So Miss Lonnie, I want you to tell us and tell everybody who's watching, how did you meet Pastor?
Well, I met Pastor Don some years, I want to say, my baby is about, I want to say 30 years. He came into my salon with a friend of ours and he inquired about me and he told him that, he said, that lady that you see, that's her husband standing next to her. And he said, oh, Well, don't tell her that I even asked about her. He said, because I honor marriages. And that was, I want to say, probably about 30 years ago. And we never really crossed paths like that. So, but after that, I saw him again. I was pregnant with my second child. He was doing a revival. And at this revival, he was married and so was I. He spoke into my life and I never forgot it, but he didn't remember speaking into my life. And the third time I saw him again was at my husband's funeral. He was officiating the funeral.
I was conducting the pulpit.
And I looked up and I'm like, wow, Pastor Don Burse is here. And that was how many years? That was 15 years ago, 14, 15 years ago. 15 years ago when we saw each other again for the third time.
Wow.
So, yeah. And then, after that, he ended up coming into the salon. He didn't know he was coming to my salon. And he came
I was
in
with the same person that took me to the first one.
Yeah, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It was really odd. And when he came into the salon, I had just opened the salon, took over the salon actually. And he came in, it was 7 months after the funeral. And and after that, I thanked him for conducting the funeral and all. And he noticed that I still had my wedding ring on. And he congratulated me on the salon and he gave me a business card. And he said, well, whenever you want to go out, give me a call. And I said, oh, that would never happen. And he looked at me and I said, because I'm not going to call you. If you want to take me out, you can give me a call.
Her exact words were, I'm old school. If you want to take me out, you're going to have to call me. Don't act like I'm awesome. That ain't going to never happen. You wouldn't have said that to me.
Well, you was scared when I said that. He was shocked. But when he left, he took my business card. And about 45 minutes later to an hour, I received these beautiful flowers. They were gorgeous. Oh, they were beautiful. I'm like, wow. And so when I opened the card that the flowers was on, that it came in, it was his business card and this little note that said, congratulations. And so I called him and I said, well, Pastor Don Burse, I said, are you flirting with me? And he kind of chuckled and he said, yes. But the thing is, I told him he can call me, but I never gave him my cell phone number. The only number he had was my business number. I did that on purpose. And he blew my phone up and I wasn't even at work.
I believe it. I believe it.
Must you tell it all?
He was so embarrassed. He kept calling me. I had went out of town, and when I came back, I checked my voicemail, and I tell you, he called back to back.
Oh, stop.
And then I called him finally, and I told him the reason why I didn't answer the phone. It wasn't that I was avoiding him, that I had went out of town, and then I gave him my cell phone number. And he set up a date, a dinner date, and it was really nice. And I met him, and it was really, really nice.
And what else?
And what?
Burse.
It was a
Oh,
yes, sir.
A lot of times it's easy to attach your identity to something you do or somewhere you work because you don't like who you are.
In regards to getting to know who you are, one piece that people have to really be ready to is look at themselves honestly. A lot of times we want to sell ourselves an idea of ourselves rather than who we really are.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
How do we know when we're listening to someone who's an idiot juxtaposed to someone who has actually done the stuff they're teaching?
You definitely have a lot of people out there who are talking and talking and talking. So you can double check their work. If you're saying that they are saying like the sky is blue, with all these other things are saying the sky is red, all right, you might need to start to follow somebody else most likely. So you can Google what is a stock, what is a REIT, what are some good stocks to invest in, what's an index fund, so on and so on. I always think that's the best place to start.
So let me ask you this question. Did you remember when her husband passed? Did you remember her then? You still remember it?
I remembered, yes, I did. And
Okay.
how I became a part of the funeral services. Her husband was extremely well known because he too was a hairstylist. And just when I tell you huge funeral service, one of the largest I've ever attended. And I was asked to conduct the pulpit because, you know why we do that, to keep everything on track. And there was a part of the services where my daughters, my now daughters, read a poem and they played a song. And the song was, it messed the whole house. I called it Sam Cooke. And they got to crying and boo-hooing and slobbing and all that kind of stuff. And the other preachers are sitting there like, so I got all 315 pounds of me up, went to the podium and told the sound man, turn it off. And boy, I almost had to call my own security guard.
Milan was so mad at you.
My oldest daughter was hot with me, but I've been around funerals long enough to know we needed to stop that. And
We had a large family.
a very large family.
It was 16 of them. And yeah, and no twins. It was all 16.
Wow.
And it was a huge family. And so it was full. The church was full. But he did a really good job.
And so you remember her from 30 years ago, and her husband, and you went. Now, did you remember him from 30 years ago at the funeral? Did you remember him from shop the
I
first
did not
time?
remember him coming in the salon, but I do remember him speaking into my life at a revival.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
So Burch, did you know you were going to her shop that second time?
No, sir.
After
Absolutely
you
not.
had no idea.
No idea. My buddy Bishop, you know Bishop Seals, says, "Come ride with me." And I said, "Okay, where we going?" He said, "Man, my wife is at the beauty salon. I need to go give her some money to pay for her hair." I said, "Okay, cool." We pulled up, and I looked at the sign, and I said, "Man, it's all about you." Okay, cool. And he says, "Get out. Come go with me." I said, "Okay, why am I going here with you so you can pay for your wife's hair?" Well, lo and behold, she was in the hallway in the salon. And I'm like, "Oh, yes, Lord. Oh, yes, Lord." Lord, you're speaking. So we had a conversation, and like she said, I got her number, and I left. And Pastor, what I want to share with you is the last $60 in my pocket. That was the last $60 I had. I paid for them roses with that last $60.
Oh, you kidding me? Wow.
And guess what? It worked.
No, it didn't.
So first marriage.
So let me ask you this. So both of you all had been married before. So how did you,
Yes.
I'll start with you, Lonnie. How did you know that, God was releasing you, or how did you know you were ready to date again after, because how long had you been married to your first
I had been married for 24 years, and I didn't know I was quite ready. I didn't know. I knew that I did not want to be single, saved, and raising 4 children. I didn't want that. But I wanted to make sure that the man that God brought into my life loved the Lord. I didn't want to do what I did prior. Not saying that my husband, he loved the Lord, but he wasn't saved in the church. He was actually a recovering addict. So we struggled for many years with his addiction. So, but I didn't know I was ready to date again. I just trust God and was hoping that God would send the right guy my way and I wouldn't miss it. I didn't want to miss God because of grief or afraid to step forward, to go forward. And he made me laugh. He made me laugh. He made me happy. Oh yeah, he made me happy. He was funny. So
Let me ask you this too, Lonnie, because I do think, because I do remember you saying earlier that the first husband, you married him, he struggled, but you actually married him twice, right?
I married him twice. I had
How-
divorced him. Okay, I divorced him because of the struggle with the addiction, and I kept going in and out, and I just knew that I did not want my daughters to know this is what marriage was really all about. It was so dysfunctional, and I didn't really know how to get out of it because I loved them so much. And I'm like, I couldn't do it. So I divorced him. Not really for him, but I divorced him for myself because I needed to know that I can stand and trust God with the process of the whole thing. Now, I would have married him the next day, but I divorced him and then he got ill. And we found out he had cancer, lung cancer. And we were separated, divorced, moved on somewhat. And I ended up remarrying him when he got sick.
Wow.
And you took care of him through the whole.
I took care of him 5 years. He lived 5 years after he was diagnosed with lung cancer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, Burse, and you were married. So 30 years ago, you ended up getting married, and that marriage didn't work out. So can you talk about that?
Absolutely. I was married 17 years, on paper together a total of 20 years. It was a rough ride, and the bumpiest part of it was after I got called to the church. Believe it or not, everything was fine until I got called to the church. It was a whole nother ball game. It was issues of being territorial, not allowing me to go serve the people like I needed to serve the people. A lot of jealousy, things of that nature. So it didn't work out. And after that, we divorced. I stayed locked up in my apartment because I lost it all. So, when I say all. I got an apartment, didn't have nothing but a bedroom set. Nothing but a bedroom set. And stayed in there, locked in there for 19 months. 19 months. Work, church, home. 19 months. That was my routine. And then things, once I got over my pain and over some of the things that took place, because a lot of it was things I needed, and that's the God honest truth. So once I get past that, then things started coming together. But everything was coming together other than the money. Everything else was coming together. The business was coming. But, thanks be to God, I met her. I don't remember, she mentioned me doing a revival, and she came and I spoke to her. I don't remember that. I don't remember anything other than I went to the first salon, saw her, got checked, told me that's her husband, done deal, I'm cool. And and then next time I'm in another salon, but it was a struggle even to think that I would get married again, because I was a sitting pastor. We don't, you don't know a lot of pastors that recover from that. The church normally turn you off, but thanks be to God, as a sitting pastor, we were able to survive it.
It's amazing you talked about you guys were good until you start pastoring. And I just think, in all fairness, because a lot of people have that problem, it's like things shift. But when you think about it, she didn't sign up for that, and she didn't sign up for it, and I think sometimes, like part of the struggle she had in terms of me was she's not going to be no preacher. You know what I mean? I'm not, her father had been a pastor, and of course he passed away when she was young. So she didn't, she was like, I know you're a preacher already. So because I know who, church, that was a big struggle. She didn't want to even consider having conversation because she didn't want it. So I think, even though you said she was, you had some challenges there, I think in all fairness, and that can go with everybody. I think sometimes we don't realize when you shift, this is not what I signed up to be. And it takes a strong woman to be able to say, okay, he going from a good guy to now pastor in church, a first lady. That's not an easy thing to do. And so,
especially when you're trying to live up to everybody else's expectations of you. Everybody wants you to be what they want you to be. That's a lot to deal with. But how did you come out of your depression, and how did you know that you actually wanted to try it again, Pastor?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well,
how did you come? You said you were in this like little, depression, I would call it. How did you come out of it and know that you were ready to do it again?
And thanks be unto God, I know your hearts. So I know I can be very honest and open, and I'm okay with that. I noticed the large influx of women that joined my church, single women. and it was a lot of them. And they were, some of which were very bold. And that's the best way I can put that right now. And during my divorce, after having been divorced, I would not counsel couples. I sent them to my sister and to my deacons and those that were married and had successful marriages. And I thought, I don't want to be single. And at that time, I was getting engagements all over the country to go preach. And I didn't want to go I didn't want to, I love to travel, and I didn't want to do it by myself. That was a little bit of an issue, and so I thought, I know I'm gonna get in trouble. I know me. I'm gonna get in trouble. So I don't want to be single. And besides that, I don't like sleeping by myself. So I just knew it was time, because I asked God, I said, listen, I want somebody, and this is exactly what I said, I want somebody who loves you as much as I love you, if not more.
Yeah.
and I need somebody a little bit more mature, not so much in Christ as it is in life, and someone who can check me and I don't get offended. You know, because don't let this little skinny lady fool you. She knows she keeps me totally in check, totally in check. And I just knew that I couldn't. I didn't want to be like. I didn't want to be one of the people I was hearing about, if that makes sense.
We are talking about pioneer women and women who are blazing the path for all of us.
I started this campaign with a prayer and a plan, and I just worked that plan. God saw fit to predestine me for this position. I'm honored that the community, they listened to what I had to say, and I'm excited. I'm excited to be a pioneer.
Like you said, a lot of people think that you just wake up and say, oh, this is what I'm going to be and this is what I am, and that everything happens overnight, and that is absolutely untrue. Do you have a few friends who's in jail right now? Do you have a few friends who's in trouble right now? I said those judges and all of that stuff really, really matters. The congressmen, all those people matter. So you have to make sure that you pay attention to those things and the numbers of what you're voting for.
I know a lot of guys that I've talked to, some of them struggle with this. She was a successful business owner. Her husband was successful in what he did, well known, and here you are, he just lost everything. How did you feel, or how did you get the courage to even approach her, or were you intimidated, or, how did you feel with that whole thing of her being, where she was, and at the time, you weren't even close to where she was?
Nowhere near. Wasn't even on the same map. Nowhere near. When we first initially started talking, I didn't know, but my business was in a decline. I had no idea because I had other people running the business, running the books. I had, accounts managers and all those people. So, of 132 employees, I couldn't do it all by myself. So I didn't know. And when the time came, when we started dating, I had money. I was all right, because I had an interview. I'll tell you about the interview later with my kids. I had the interview with them. And so I had money, and then we started dating. We were dating, and then soon to be married, and boom, got the carpet pulled from under me. I mean, like, bam, married now. And I was intimidated by the fact that I had no idea. Now, call me naive, call me slow. I had no idea that hairstylists made that kind of money. No way, I didn't have no idea. Mm-hmm. So when I found out, well, my heart was broken. I was like, oh God, this woman making all this money. I ain't got this, I got this little bitty peanut. Oh my God, and she said something to me one day. She says, babe, you have to understand it's all coming to the same house. And that blessed my soul, man, because I was hurt. I'm thinking, man, I ain't, everywhere I've been, every relationship, I'm the man, I'm bringing in all this money, 6 digits, please. Money was my least problem, making money. I believe that I'm a money magnet. Yeah. I can make money. That's easy for me. But it was the fact that I didn't know, I knew how to make it. I'm getting ready to say something. I knew how to make it, but I didn't know how to make it without it.
Wow. Lon, I got to ask you this because it's heavy, because now it makes sense. 7 months after your husband died,
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are this beautiful woman with your own business. I'm sure all kind of guys like vultures when your husband passed away, and yet they weren't really.
No, I didn't see it. It wasn't a whole lot. No.
Like,
Queen.
Men did not approach me, Pastor. They did not.
gotcha.
What about the 38 year old?
Well, he was 38.
That boy was 38 years old.
Yeah, well, I mean, he complimented me. It was the ones that it wasn't. It was very few. They were either very old, but they didn't say much. They would
Gotcha.
stare. They would compliment, but they never really approached me. I don't know if I had 4 kids on my forehead, or don't try it. I don't know, but no, they
Gotcha.
didn't.
So
Yeah.
so here Burst comes 7 months later, but you've been taking care of somebody for 5 years.
Oh yeah.
And so he comes along. When did you say, okay, he called you. When did you say, okay, I can go out to dinner? Now it's time. I've been taking care of somebody for 5 years. Now it's time for me to do some things for me. Because you got people right now who watching, I'm sure, ladies and men,
Oh yeah.
going through divorce or death. And okay, you still wearing your wedding ring. So at what point do you say, okay, now it's time to open up, to live, to try to do something else? When did you make that decision to do that?
Well, actually, when we talked on the phone, and the conversation was really nice, and it wasn't nothing. He wasn't flirting. He wasn't. It was just small talk, and it was intriguing. It was really nice. So it made me like, okay, it's nothing wrong with going to dinner. And when I said yes to the dinner, it was really, I was looking forward to just having a good time. So I wasn't looking for a relationship. I wasn't even looking to see, I wasn't looking like that. I was just going to go to dinner and just hang out and have a good time. And after that, it was really,
On
it was
and
nice.
popping.
No, it wasn't on and popping. He just, we laughed and we talked, but it was one thing that I wanted. We come from two different. I'm 6 years older than you? I'm 6 years older, and really he had several strikes against him. So
here comes too much truth.
Call the roll.
Yeah, I didn't want to marry a pastor. I wanted a man of God, but I didn't want a pastor because I didn't want to deal with what comes along with pastors. And again, it's dealing with females, and I had to live with that for so many years. That my husband was a hairstylist, and he was not gay, and so women sat in his chair. He didn't have to do their hair very well, but they just sat in his chair. So you know how that goes. So I had to deal with women in that area, and then now I'm getting ready. I'm dating a pastor that's more women on a different level, and I'm like, you was a big boy. I didn't think I liked big boys. I was not attracted to him, and he was younger than me. Those were the three. He was younger, big boy, and a pastor.
Wow. So when did you get over those strikes?
What made me get over?
How long did it take? Yeah, how long did
It
it
didn't
take? It's
take
not.
long. It did not take long. He was a big old teddy bear. He smelled good. You know, everything that what I thought in my head about big boys, it was he passed.
See, now that's a good thing for single ladies. Do y'all hear this? Y'all hear this, ladies? She had a list. He was not on her list. But she had to cross some things off of her list, and now she's, you know, look at
Yes, I start crossing. And then our backgrounds, spiritual backgrounds, and it was so odd. I'm like, why we have never crossed paths? And we were talking one day, and he kind of mentioned, we were talking about different events that took place in Las Vegas. And I'm like, remember when Bally's caught on fire? I was on my way to school. I was a senior in high school. And he said, dang, I was in the 6th grade. I'm like, oh no.
Let me ask you this. You told us one time, Burst, that she asked you when you all got serious, you know, what could you do for her? Or something like that another man couldn't do. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, what she can do.
What she couldn't do for herself.
Yeah.
What did she ask you?
See, this is one of the things about the two of you.
All right,
y'all don't forget nothing. Y'all don't forget nothing.
That was good. Well, he was sitting down and he was just going in. And I listened to him, and he was talking about his business and I'm like, okay, well, what can you do for me? I have my own business. Not that I was bragging. I had my own business, my home. I had a nice car, I thought, and 4 kids. I was the one that had the baggage, thought. And I said, so what can you do for me that I cannot do for myself? Wow. And that was the question that I asked him that made me stop and like, wow, he just kind of took the air out of, I was all pumped up. What can you do for me? I'm, you know, and he in turn said,
I can love you like nobody else can love you. I can hold you like nobody else can hold you. I can provide the very best for you. I'm going to protect and provide.
And I'm like, oh, that was sweet. I'm like, oh, he got the gift for gab. That's what I told him. I said, he got the gift for gab. You a pastor. That's what they have, the gift for gab. And then again, he said, dang, you're not giving me a break.
You know
Yeah,
what?
but
We out of time. We out of time already. We didn't get to half our questions. Listen,
Right.
I'm out of time. But will y'all come back? Let me fit and do part 2 so we can get the rest of this conversation. Will y'all come back?
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
Fam, listen. This has been, and we do this all the time. So I apologize, y'all. We just let y'all in on our comment. This is how we act when we together. So y'all who's watching, so pardon me. Hope y'all can get in on our conversation because this is friends talking. But we out of time. This is part 1. But they consent to come back next week. So I want you to tune in. Listen, share this link with somebody. If you enjoyed it, share this link. Hit that like button for you log off. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Leave some questions for next week. So subscribe, like, comment, share. Hit the like button. Send me some comments for some questions for next week. Share this link. And we're going to log off and close this broadcast. But same time next week, we'll see you here for Marriage Matters with Pastor Don and Lonnie Burr. So as always, remember this. If you will be good to God, then God will be good to you. Till next time, peace.
Bye.
See you next
See y'all
time.
next week.